Good morning, everybody. It's LeBron, the Sharon Point cat. What I try to do every morning after my jog is share with my Facebook family and friends and YouTube peoples some of the things that I think of after my morning ritual. This is Jog Talk number 14. And we've been talking about a series of things. Last time it was a series called C.A.N.I, Constant and Never-Ending Improvement. This week we're on Living a Life of Purpose, which is part of that. And today, the last time we talked about removing all the barriers from the emotional and psychological barriers to finding out what your purpose is. So you've dedicated yourself to constantly improve. You've dedicated yourself to finding what your purpose is, discovering it, uncovering it, because I believe you're born with it. It's something that comes out of you, not something you develop, and you develop the skills to live a life of purpose, but you discover and uncover what your life of purpose is. So today we're going to talk about the 80-20 principle, or the Pareto principle. So just a little brief explanation of what that is. A guy by the name of Alfredo Pareto, an Italian economist living in London, was studying the economy in Great Britain. I think in London, And what he discovered is that 20% of the population owned 80% of the wealth. And if you keep going, 20% of the 20% own 80% of that wealth. And if you keep going, it really boils down to the 1% that a lot of people have been talking about in the past few years. But basically what he discovered is that wasn't just an economic principle. That was a universal principle that applied to everything. So for instance, like I do a lot of marketing, and I do Facebook marketing, I do word of mouth marketing. In other words, I call people directly and invite them to my events, people that I know that I would love to have at my events. I do Facebook marketing, I do postcards, I do posters, and I'm always looking for more things. But I always know that 80% of my marketing comes from the 20% of marketing that I do, which is word of mouth. Period. I mean, I have the numbers, I keep exact numbers on those things, and I know that. So if you look at your day, if you was to write down everything you did that day, and you would look at it and say, okay, these are the important things that I got accomplished, it would be 20% of the things you did throughout the day resulted in 80% of the results. So this principle goes on and on. So the reason why I'm talking about this principle, and it's the other way around too, right? So 80% of the things you do only produce 20% of the results. So, right, 80% of the population only owns 20% of the wealth, those kind of things. So if you look at your life, so let's say we've committed to C.A.N.I, we've committed to discovering what our purpose is, we've committed to removing all the emotional and psychological barriers, and even people in your life. Let's talk about that for a hot second. You know, there's a story about crab fishing. And who knows if the story is right, because I've never been under the water watching crabs. But they say where you put a cage down in the middle of the ocean and you put some bait in there and one crab goes in, well, another crab will follow, see what's going on. And another crab will follow that one, see what's going on. Another crab will follow. Next thing you know, you got a cage full of crabs. And what's said is that when one crab figures out, well, this is boo-boo, there's no more bait, and it's just a cage, let me get out of here, another crab will pull it down. I don't know if that's true about crabs, but I know that's true about people. And some people are not even intentionally pulling you down. It's more about compatibility. It's more about the direction they're going in. So if they're not actively fighting to discover who they are, and if you are, you're going to make different decisions. You're going to do different things. You're going to look at life differently. And that person's not, it's going to bring you down. So now that let's say you've decided to remove a lot of the ignorance in your life, you've decided to remove a lot of the emotional, psychological baggage, and that's not like you just wake up one day, it's a lifelong decision. But you're on that path and then you decide to remove toxic people. Again, that person might not be a bad person, might just be, you guys are just incompatible. Or even you both have two different visions. But anyway, you've made those decisions, now it's time to focus. Now it's time to focus on that life of discovering who you are. Well, what you want to do is do an 80-20 analysis of what I call your major joys in the world and your major complaints. So how are you going to discover what you're good at is really writing down and looking at what is it that I love to do? What is it that I love to do? What is it that I was good at? Now, remove maybe the fear or the failure or the embarrassment or all this other stuff that might have happened and came along with that experience, but just really write down a list. What do I love to do? What do I love to do? Where did I get the most success? Or here's a big one. This will help me. What are the things that happened successfully that came with ease? It just came natural. Things worked out. Everything kind of got aligned. You know, it was good. I got a lot of success from it. Joy. That's number one. What are my joys? Number two is, what are your constant complaints? I don't mean, complaining about your kids not helping out with the chores, or complaining that your man don't work enough, or he works too much, or, complaining that your girl lost some weight, or, not lost weight. Well, for black guys, huh? No, let me might be cultural. Skip that part. But, complaining that your girl gained weight or whatever the situation is. Wow, I feel bad about that comment. Like, stereotyping my own people. Anyway, sorry, all my peoples. Anyway, I'm talking about the major complaints in life that you constantly make. Maybe it's about world peace. Maybe it's about people's health. Maybe it's about, child molesters, or, police brutality, or police not being respected and honored for the majority of police officers that are good police. It was, military, maybe, complaining about the abuse of military in the world, or complaining that the actual soldiers shouldn't be disrespected. Anything, world hunger, slave trade, anything. You want to look at things that you constantly complain about. And then what it's going to discover is what you get joy out of and what you feel needs to be changed in the world. And then what you want to do after you do that, you need to boil it down, because it's not about that specific thing as much as it is the spirit or principle of it. So, and this video is going to be a little longer. My apologies for those of you who just want to get a quick, view in, go about your day. I'm going to go a little bit longer today. But for me, my constant complaint was holidays. And, I would say, hey, Jesus Christ wasn't born on the 25th of December. Or, bunnies don't lay eggs. Or, Halloween is about worshiping the dead. Or, St. Valentine's, wasn't about love. Or, those kind of things. really what it wasn't about people celebrating holidays, because everybody celebrates holidays for their own reasons. It was really about, the complaint from me was about not celebrating on the other days. The complaint was, okay, why do we have to wait for the 25th of December to be in a joyful, festive mood and a giving mood? Why do we have to wait till Memorial Day to honor those who've died for us? Or why do we have to wait till Labor Day to honor those who, the strong foundation of work ethic that built this country, or all those kind of, or 14th of February to honor your wife or your girlfriend, or Mother's Day. That was my complaint that I had for years and years, and that I made the mistake of offending people, not spending time with people, not enjoying my family or those people on their special days. So I wasted a lot of time, kind of being in that space, when it all just boiled down to, wait a minute, I just like celebrating. That was my joy. Whenever I was in the business of celebration, or whenever I was celebrating life in general, especially for no reason, okay, it's no kind of day in the calendar that says we should celebrate, but it's just, we're gonna go party, we're gonna go have a good time, it's the summertime, we're gonna barbecue and go to somebody's house and get in the pool. Man, that was my greatest joy. And my biggest complaint is not holidays, please. I'm in the business of doing that. I'm gonna celebrate every holiday that there is. My biggest complaint was that we're not celebrating all the time. That all this holidays we have in our books and on the calendar in our country and other people's countries, there's a reason, there's a principle behind it that we can celebrate on a daily basis and give thanks. Thanksgiving was my biggest one. It was the first one I stopped celebrating. And I'm like, we can give thanks every day. And I have family members, and I'm sure all of us do. We sit down and we give thanks to God for the food and bless the food every single day. That's Thanksgiving. And they go around and they say, what are you thankful for? And that's Thanksgiving. So I missed out on a lot of that. But now I just understand, okay, I'll just boil down to what I wanted to do was celebrate life. And that's what I'm in the business of doing now. So you want to do that. First thing you want to do is list the joys, and then list your constant complaints, and then boil it down to the basic principle, right? Boil down what that joy was about for you, because it's not about, the circumstance or the event. It's about the joy that brings to you. And then the constant complaint is what you want to give to the world, right? So for me, I want everybody to celebrate Mother's Day every day. I lost my mom when I was like 24. You should celebrate your mother every day. If you're arguing, you're mad, you guys aren't talking, just celebrate her. Celebrate Veterans Day. My dad, his life was turned upside down by serving in Vietnam. And people have lost their lives. PTSD, lost limbs. Celebrate those people every day, all kind of things. Every single holiday, ask yourself, how can it be Valentine's for my wife or girl? And trust me, I'm not the guy to give advice on relationships, but I know that's what you need to be doing. So that's my time today. Sorry, I went a little bit over, but that's what you want to do. You want to ask yourself those 3 things or 4 things. And I think it'll be a really powerful exercise. And please, somebody give me some feedback. If you've done that and you've discovered some things, I'd love to hear from you on this Facebook post, or, comment on YouTube, or, inbox me or call me. I love the feedback. So again, make it a great day, because the day ain't going to make itself. Out.